Hey guys, here we are. It's Alexa Caballo Hughes.
Kinsey Lee Eagles.
Hey, Bennett Clark.
And Alex Acuff.
And this is our third episode of Rare Real Angels of Real Estate. And we have our buddy Tabitha. She'll be joining us later. So guys, let's all introduce ourselves. I know we're actually kind of merging two different podcasts here. And we're just so happy to have you guys.
Appreciate you guys having us on.
Perfect. Absolutely. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about how you guys met, and then also where you guys are from and whatnot. We'd love to hear it.
Take it away, Bennett.
Sure. Alex and I met at the Inman conference in New York this past January, and we just connected on a level where we wanted to start doing some podcasts of our own. So we've shot a few and put some out and working on getting some other ones lined up. But when I ran into Tabitha at the R4 conference about a month after I met Alex, once I figured out you guys were going to do a podcast too, we just reached out to see if we wanted to join forces on one. So here we are.
Love it.
Awesome.
And I'm Alex Acuff from Auburn, Alabama. And so me and Bennett, we met Inman Connect in New York. So he found out that I have an oddly insane passion for podcasts, and he happens to be connected to everyone I think I want to know. So we have joined forces, and we have started the Connecting B2C Podcast. So we're happy to be here. I'm glad to see that there are some other folks starting some other amazing podcasts. We've got the Real Angels, and then you guys bring on the two Real Assholes. So we're good.
Oh, dang.
Boom.
Well, that A letter in Rare is interchangeable. So today it'll be the Real Assholes, the Real
Right. Like we've been the Real Angels, the Real Assholes. We've come up with lots of it. So I'm welcome the assholes to the angels.
There you go.
I love it. This is so great. So I guess we're like the AA meeting over here. Mm-hmm. The meetings of the AAs.
That's right.
Definitely be an AA meeting up in this live broadcast today.
This is amazing. So Alex, so it sounds like you know a lot about different podcasts and whatnot. So honestly, I'm not aware of many real estate ones. Are there tons of real estate podcasts out there?
There's a ton of them, but there are a few that are very well done. I think what's important to listen to, especially with podcasts, is that, I found it as an educational piece. I've probably been in the business less than anyone in this group. I've only been in for about 4 years. And so started my business and utilized podcasts. I just found it, searching as a new agent, and you don't have money to buy coaching. So you're like trying to find anything and everything, Googling. And then I ran across the word podcast, picked up my iPhone, went to the iTunes podcast, and then I found a bunch. And, they're guys that are real rock stars in real estate, real proven track records. They get it. They get the grind. And they're also people that have been a constant professional. And so what they find is that after years and years of building businesses, is that I think what we all like to do is serve, and they feel like it gets to a point where they need to start serving the agents that are around them. And so, they give back a lot, and it's really, really cool. There's some amazing podcast hosts out there, and we can cover that later at the end, and like some other podcasts and stuff. But I just want to say that because it's been a huge part of my life. And I think when I told that to Bennett, it kind of hit home, and he was like, wow, he's like, then we should probably get something up and running and really see where we can take this.
And speaking of your podcast, so tell us a little bit more. So you guys met at Inman, and what is the name of yours?
Well, the podcast is called Connecting B2C, and it originates over the idea of let's skip over A and get directly to the meat of what we're talking about. So that's taken on a couple different meanings, and that connecting B2C can be connecting our business to our consumers. But in an educational sense, a networking sense, it's more about getting right to the point where we're also reaching out to people within the industry as far as our podcast goes. Not so much the consumer, but more of the agent driven and the networking and the connection points. And so that's what we're trying to build.
Love it. And believe me when I say that, I think I'll be checking out your guys' podcast. I know you guys are at 1:00 right after us, right?
We are recording one. We will be putting one out pretty soon with the box branded gas from Australia. So I'm not sure if you've heard of that supplier. And that, so it's not just agents. It could be a vendor, supplier, company that we use, or somebody that we've met. So it's really just a broad look at the industry as far as our guests go.
Right. And we're so new, we kind of, our first show we just did by ourselves. Last week we had Maria from San Diego, who's a Remax agent. And we're really just interested in having anyone that's interested in furthering their real estate career, anyone that has insight on how to build a business, what to do, what not to do, what's worked for them, what hasn't worked for them. So it's kind of a free-for-all of everything that is not shown on HGTV.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which it's fun. So it's been a lot of fun for us so far, and we look forward to, getting our skills honed in and making everything flow smoothly, but also connecting with amazing agents from around the world. Because I would have to say that my business is very, very referral generated from meeting people at conferences, through podcasts, through real kind of human experiences. And that kind of is a wonderful way to build your business.
So true. And I mean, I feel, and Alex, you can tell me if this is the case, but it sounds like a lot of the podcasts and a lot of the information that's out there is more like geared towards agents and like giving value to agents. So one thing we really, really like to do is also focusing on adding value to the consumers. And again, that brings us to the HGTV Mythbusters, because a lot of consumers, the first experience they have in real estate is on HGTV. So, I mean, if we all want to kind of go around and talk about, some of like the
Zillow. We can't forget Zillow.
Yes, and Zillow, right? I mean, it's so true. There's just so much misconception in the real estate industry. And I feel that our goal here is to really bring light to real life real estate experiences for the consumer. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to add Tabitha in here. I'm going to switch out for a little bit. If you guys want to say hello to her as well, maybe we can talk about some of those Mythbusters.
Awesome. Perfect. Check you later.
Mm-hmm. Musical chairs.
Musical chairs. We're just going to be on a rotation today. I like it.
Hey.
I kind of like this.
Hey, Tab.
Hey, guys. How are you? I've been listening in.
Good.
Awesome.
It's weird to be sitting in a little dark lobby waiting, but I heard everything. And what are we talking about? Mythbusters with real estate?
Right.
Okay.
Just some of the experiences.
Yeah.
Well, I think right now it's essential, since we've had such a changing market, for people to really have not just kind of like the poodle type of agent, but really the pit bull type of agent, to tell them exactly what's going to happen, exactly what they think is going to happen with these offers. I mean, we're not, I told a client yesterday, I'm not talking you up. I'm trying to talk you into this house. There needs to be an absolute trust between the agent and the client to be told exactly what's going on. And we don't have to sugarcoat anything anymore. It's real. It's quick. It's got to be, it's got to be right on point as soon as you meet them, as soon as you get them into something. Sellers too.
Yeah, they got to understand that it's just the way the market is right now with the homes and how fast they're moving. And I know Bennett can speak to this. I mean, it makes agents want to pull their hair out, and it makes you almost want to like hold your client down and just tell them, we're not lying, we're not kidding. The homes go fast. We need a decision. Right. Unfortunately, they're like, well, we don't want to make a decision that fast. It's like, well, that's the way this market.
Then it's not the house,
because the next buyer that comes in behind you does not care. They don't care.
Right. Yeah. And where is everybody from? So we can kind of have an understanding of the different markets that we have on today's show. I'm from Fort Myers, Florida. So I'm Southwest Florida on the Gulf Coast, in between Tampa and Naples. And we work Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Lehigh Acres, Bonita Springs, Estero. We cover a very, very large, the whole Gulf Coast of Florida. So, and Tabitha?
I'm in Northeast Ohio, which that covers Cleveland to Akron, Lorain County, Cuyahoga County, Medina County. We're right at 5 counties here. So I'm serving, a good portion of Northeast Ohio. I don't do Columbus or Cincinnati, but, all up in that northern territory. And, our market values range from 40 to 60 to, $1 million. So we're kind of all over the place as well. We're big territory, different amounts.
Alex?
I am in Auburn, Alabama, home of the Auburn University Tigers.
Awesome.
And so we're located.
And then how's
the market? So just to kind of give you, if people don't know, I'm actually located in between Montgomery, Alabama to Atlanta. So we're right in the middle of that corridor, and it's actually a huge international market. It's a big melting pot area. So there's lots of international manufacturers as well. We cover, my office is in downtown Auburn. I'm right next. I'm literally a block away from Toomer's Corner. And so I primarily just cover Auburn. It's kind of a bubble market. So it's a very higher end market for Alabama especially. So, I mean, you can step outside of the city limits and you'll see a $30,000, $40,000 price drop in the same product.
Gotcha.
Same.
Yep.
Well, I'm in Lexington, Kentucky, which is pretty much as central as you can get in the state.
Right.
Our coverage area is, generally about within an hour of Lexington. That would probably service about a population of about 500,000 for our metropolitan area in Lexington and the Fayette, surrounding counties to Fayette. There's some good manufacturing. We have the largest Toyota plant in North America, just up the road in Georgetown. It's a fast-growing city and fast-growing county. But we're also deeply, tangled up in the horse business. And
awesome.
Development
horse and whiskey business.
Those horses and whiskey, that's my thing.
We just have an interesting market because it's not only has it been busy and the inventory's been low, but there's a debate about where potential new build or expansion is going to be because we want to preserve the horse farms. That's what drives the industry here, and we're not going to develop those areas potentially. So there's a lot of renovation and redevelopment in some areas, or can be. So it's an interesting time.
Gotcha. So when we come to the Kentucky Derby, we stay with you.
You'll go up to Louisville for that, but I would advise going to Keeneland instead of Churchill Downs. Everybody needs to go to Churchill Downs, but Keeneland's where it's at.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to a Derby trip, right, girls?
There you go.
That's it. I'm all about drinking whiskey on horses. Why not?
Horses and whiskey, topic of the day.
I love it. So I guess I should talk about my market a little bit because Tab is now in our lobby. So I'm obviously from Connecticut. Well, not obviously. We're just meeting here, but I'm from Connecticut, and I love Connecticut, born and raised. It's a very small state, right, of course, between New York and Massachusetts. So we have so much access as far as commutability and whatnot. But Connecticut's really interesting because, I've been doing this 7 years, so I've been doing this post-bubble, and we're still recovering. We're actually one of the very last states to realize our recovery, and we're still working through our foreclosures. So a lot of international buyers that are out there, there's a lot of great opportunity. And we really have a lot of, we have some really good universities, of course, UConn, University of Connecticut, Yale, and whatnot. So we have a huge market as far as off-campus rentals are concerned. We're getting almost $3 a square foot. But yeah, all in all, we're still recovering, still a huge amount of opportunity as far as investments, and we're down in inventory. This is the first year in 7 years I've seen where it's actually a seller's market. So we're starting to see things flip. But I like to tell people the boat has not yet sailed. The ship has not yet sailed.
Right. And we were pretty much the hardest hit and the first round of foreclosures in the entire country. So we've bounced back pretty good, but I just put a short sale under contract a few days ago. So, they're still out there, but our foreclosure market has definitely dwindled.
Yeah, it's actually a really interesting landscape. And for me, so I've been doing this again 7 years, and it was just very, very interesting to come in. The average realtor is 58 years old, and they're telling me how hard real estate is. But that's like that's what I learned, in the hard market. So I'm actually really excited to see kind of things picking up and whatnot. And, it's actually, I'm finding now, since I've done my training during the hardest times, it's actually really exciting to be in real estate now and whatnot. So, I mean, as far as challenges are concerned, what are some of your biggest challenges in your marketplace that you guys are seeing?
Go ahead, Bennett.
Agents.
For me, I think it's the inventory issue. It's affected. It's not just, I don't know. It just affects the whole thing. I mean, if you're working buyers as an agent and you don't have anything to show them, or there's 10 offers on a property, it's just difficult. But then as a seller, it's hard to convince somebody to sell when they don't know where their next house is going to be. So it really limits the amount of potential transactions. We've had a lot of new agents come into our board over the past couple of years. And I think that has also contributed to kind of flooding the overall system. So right now, I think it's just, it's not, I don't want to call it cutthroat, but I think that people are trying to do better, clean up things, but it started to get out of hand a little bit. People doing a lot of things that were kind of under the, behind closed doors or swept under the rug just to get things done. And a lot of people just really don't want to work that way, obviously, and it leads to bad things overall.
And Bennett, if I may, I mean, you said something that is hitting home for me in Connecticut is we have a huge pent-up demand of people looking to sell. However, they're waiting till they find their next house to actually list their home. So it's kind of like a never-ending cycle. So, I mean, one message that I'm like super loud and clear about and trying to scream from the mountaintops is, listen, if you have a home you want to sell, you want to purchase, but you haven't found what you're looking to purchase yet, do not wait to list your home, because everyone is doing that. And that's why we have this never-ending cycle of, let me wait till I find the home I want. If everyone just lists their home and having a realtor make sure that we line up the dates appropriately, subject to seller finding suitable housing, whatever the case may be, then problem solved. I think that's a really good point to hit on.
And we're seeing fewer and fewer transactions that have contingencies worked in. So that used to be something that I would work in a lot, is say, hey, yeah, we got plenty of time. You can go ahead and get under contract, and then you have an escape clause or kick out clause, whatever you may call it in your market. And that is, I haven't seen that in a while now. So that's gone away.
Wow. Yeah.
So
and here,
go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Now here we're starting to see appraisal issues at this point, because we've increased in our values so much here that the appraisers who aren't in the market, and we're getting appraisers from 2 hours away coming into our market, and they don't know, they're comping us incorrectly. So we're starting to see a little bit of that. But to piggyback on all this, I mean, we are right now, if you don't have your house on the market and you're looking for market, you're looking at the market now, everything is gone and we're bottlenecked, just like Alexa said.
Yeah, it's tough to talk a seller off of the dock. They all want to keep 1 foot on and 1 foot in the boat. In our market, we kind of experience a little bit of all the same. As far as lower inventory, we've got a ton of buyers. I think we do a fantastic job with that. Ultimately, what we bitch about is the greatest thing ever. We've got people that want to move. We got people that want to buy. And it's a lot of fun, number one, and it is hectic, but it's fun because I love putting the puzzle together for folks. Going in and talking with the seller, explaining the process and breaking it down for them, and just showing them exactly how it works. And you're right, like getting a contract accepted with a contingency that you're selling your house that's not on the market or is on the market, don't even try. But what we're experiencing right now is The homes will appraise, and they're appraising for much more than probably what I think they should. I think a lot of it is that we have sellers that are ready to sell, and they are not convinced that we are at the top of the market yet for my area, which I feel like we're pretty darn close. In fact, we've actually seen a net drop in the overall number because last year, as of right now, was better than this year, numbers wise. So that's putting those statistics out there for them to see. It's important to just really open up their eyes to everything, give them an idea of everything that's going on around them.
Cool.
Yeah, Kinsey, I think wants to come on in, so she's got something to share.
I just pop back in on this because this is kind of how our market was come 2006, 2007, before we started, and we actually started crashing the end of 06. Mm-hmm. And I've been in real estate here. I started as an assistant in about 2000 and then was licensed in 2003. But, the appraisals, the lighter lending standards is very similar to what it seems like you're going through now.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that. I got licensed in July of 2007. So I always go back and joke with people like, hey, that's good career choice, good timing. 2 months in, everything just kind of changed. But being young and going through this process of learning and, as Alexa said, like in a bad market and having to just live through that and experience it and then see it completely change. It's substantially different. And then it's so great, it's almost too great, where now we've got another obstacle that we're trying to navigate. That's, these market conditions shift, and I'm not sure a lot of people really expect them. So I think right now is a really good time to just start the filtering process where you're making sure what you're doing from your business is whether it's expense or how you present yourself or what your thoughts are as far as lead generation. It's a good time to evaluate that because I think so many things are realistically changing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. I agree. Prices are increasing, interest rates are going up, stated income, no doc loans, bank statement loans. It's kind of a process that I've already seen and been through. And obviously I don't have a crystal ball, but I hope that this time around, everyone plays it a little bit safer. Because I can tell you, I lost my ass in 2008. I short sold the houses. I woke up pregnant of all freaking things. You couldn't sell a house to save your life. So I definitely think that everyone this time around will be a little bit smarter.
Yeah, I'm actually interested to kind of see how things play out because I don't know if everyone else watched the movie The Big Short, right? That's what it was called, right?
Yeah.
But that's really that to me was so interesting just because I never lived it.
Oh, see, that was like my life.
That literally I just want to hear a story right now. How was it really that insane? As far as how accurate do you think the movie was as far as Florida real estate and all that?
Well, I can tell you as far as Florida real estate, we were contract writers. We would write contract after contract after contract. We would sell a lot, throw a spec on it, sell it for a much, much higher percentage, even before the home was built. We had people paying loans on homes, and the homes never ended up getting built. It was anyone could get a loan. You could have eight properties and be a waitress at Denny's making, $40,000 a year. Nothing against waitresses at Denny's, and I don't know exactly what they make. So let me just.
I don't think they make $40,000 a year.
I don't know. Let's just disclaim right now. I don't know exactly where that freaking stat came from.
Information believed to be accurate, but not guaranteed.
Yes. It's time for the disclaimer.
Yeah. Disclaimer. Our thoughts and opinions are not always correct.
But they're correct to us, so that's what counts.
we're always right. I think that's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But we're always right.
The disclaimer is we're always right. But, anyone could get a loan. The adjustable rate mortgages where you're paying interest only for your first 3 years. And then all of a sudden your payment goes from $1,000 a month to where you're paying principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and you cannot afford that home. And then the market started dropping, and with the market dropping as quick as it did, you were screwed. You were either going to do a deed in lieu, a short sale, or you were going to foreclose, because there was no way that once your payment increased that you would be able to afford that payment.
No, and we were losing jobs too. You could be making $3,000 a month in a $300,000 house, and your job may be on contract. Well, after 2 years, they're losing their job.
Well, and when our construction industry took a dive because you couldn't sell a house, all of anyone, the roofers, the drywall, the painters, they all went out of business.
They became realtors. Did they not? How many realtors do you know that were in construction?
Well, ours was a little bit different because that time in our market actually weeded out a lot of realtors. So it was kind of the strong survive. And I really, have a lot of respect for the realtors here that have been in business for even, 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 to 20 years. Because they've been through those ups and downs. They've seen the good, the bad, the ugly. They've seen a stable market. They've seen a shitty market. They've seen like there's no way to sell a house this year. And then
what a change! What a change it is now.
It is.
It's a positive.
I'm thankful that I got to go through it. I learned so much. I gained so much knowledge from starting in a stable market, going through the huge boom, and then going through the crash. I can do a short sale in my sleep. And, I think that just experiencing that in my lifetime has given me a lot of knowledge and expertise. Also gives you more of a sense of how to deal with people, because you're going from giving that dream of homeownership to getting someone out of the situation of not being able to afford the home. So I really think that the relationships that were built around that era of real estate are really very, very important. And I just gained a lot of knowledge from it.
Yeah, we needed that.
And I never experienced the actual pre-bubble and all that. Having come in and, shrink during the toughest time, I must say, now that the market's kind of recovered, like I know in many of your markets, it has recovered. But now that we are going through that recovery, there's so many more agents hitting the marketplace again. I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing so many more new agents.
A lot of new licensees.
Not about any other agent poorly or anything like that. However, when you are doing the single largest emotional and financial investment of your lifetime, make sure you have an agent that is in it to win it, not someone that's here to churn and burn or just enter the marketplace.
I love it. Yeah.
Well, and deal, because it's a big deal. You need someone that's going to represent you well. And I think this is like a kind of a public, disclaimer to everyone. Don't just use someone because you're friends with them and they want to make some extra money. Don't just use someone because, no offense to part-timers, I have nothing wrong with a part-timer, but you want someone that's experienced, someone that actually has skin in the game.
I kind of have problems with part-timers.
Yeah. And
not going to lie.
I think that one of the most important things is to find someone that's not in it just to make a dollar. Exactly. And I said this yesterday as I was working with someone that needed a rental, right? A rental. Here you make $100 on a rental, but you don't do it for the money. You do it for the love, the support, to build a relationship. Yeah. And I think that that's what a lot of realtors are missing out on in their business is it's always chasing the deal and chasing the deal and chasing that paycheck. And that is not what real estate's about.
No. If you take care of the people, the money takes care of itself. We don't worry about commissions. We worry about people.
Absolutely.
And it's
if I didn't love people, there is no way I would wake up in the morning and do this job.
It's true. People
But
think
then sometimes, keeping it real, there are some times.
Oh,
I mean, we promise to be real.
Sometimes I'm just like, screw you, I'm out.
But you know what? We stick by our clients during the tough times. We realize it's such an emotional thing. Let me tell you guys something. When I bought my current home, I was leaning on my mom. I'm like, Mom, what do you think? My mom is in the process of selling her home and buying. She is our broker owner of 3 Remaxes in central Connecticut. And she's like, holy crap, this is why we have a job. Like, this is so stressful. And she's leaning on me like, Alex, what do you think? I'm like, Mom, we need to negotiate more. We need to do this. We need to do that. It is so important to have someone representing you, even as agents that are experienced. When you're in it, it's totally different. Like, we need someone to guide us through the crazy moments. And that's what we're here for, to help ease someone through the transition, really.
Yep.
All right, Alex, should we get
I think we wanted to bring Bennett in. Or no, we wanted to bring Alex in.
Yay.
Yeah. He's been out there for a minute. I would just say, because things have changed and do change over time, I think it's important to make sure that we're all diverse in what we do. I mean, being licensed doesn't mean that you just show houses or you just list houses. I think there's other opportunities, and that's a big part of my business, is not just relying on how many transactions I can have a year, because some of us are going to invest in property ourselves or collaborate on something. Build houses or renovate houses and use that as a stream of income, and use the license not just as a Remax agent or an agent of whatever company. So to really think about how we promote ourselves, because you can be really specific, or you can try different approaches that are like just a buckshot approach, a spread approach, where you can try to capture as many people as you want. And that's going to work for some people, but not for everybody. So, I know Alex does a lot of database work, and he and I have been talking over the past couple of weeks about systems and back-end platforms that are going to make our jobs easier, that spread across different fields, where you can work it in construction, you can work it in your client database, and so it's something that's broad.
All right, a couple things. Got to backtrack. Number one, I do love the movie The Big Short. Number two, I think what's one of the biggest conversations I had recently is about we run a millennial ran real estate company, and we figured out, just like everyone else, that this is the front door of real estate, and we're good at it. And we have found that, especially in our market, there's a huge turnover, and I think Bennett can speak for this, that there's a huge turnover in his area of older agents with maybe they definitely have referral networks, and those are always going to work time and time again. But I think looking for someone that's aggressive, looking for someone that is a little bit more tech savvy, and to go back to what we talked about, things that aren't on HGTV. Well, a big thing is perception is reality. I mean, Zig Ziglar said that back in the 70s. That is the absolute truth. And so we cannot deny that. So what we find is that we look for agents, like right now we're recruiting agents. What we're looking for is people that are customer service oriented, people that are really focused not on their people that will respond and not react on Facebook, people that will actually think about what they're putting up. We don't do political posts. We don't do any of that. I don't even talk about Auburn or Alabama. So, because that is politics in our part of the country. But it's just important to, we look for agents that are aggressive, people that want a full-time job, people that want an opportunity to not have a glass ceiling over their head because they feel like all they can do is work for a local corporate company. And we focus a lot on that. And I'm a database-driven person, so if you guys want to, we can always jump on that subject. I love that subject.
Well, Alex, that's something that you and I have been talking about, like we said, over the past couple of weeks. these
Right.
database-driven things. So I'm curious to see what is it that you guys use as far as keeping everything organized and what you do for your back-end systems and database.
Well, I use a lot of systems. I am 100% systems driven. My office runs like a well-oiled machine. I'm a small brokerage. We have 23 kick-ass agents. Everybody produces. And I'm blessed and lucky to have the most amazing team and staff members ever. We use, obviously, paperless transaction file system called App Files. It includes everything from your calendar to all of your contracts, e-signatures. You can access everything from your phone, your laptop, your iPad. You can sign contracts on the go. My office uses Boomtown as a CRM. And all of our agents are provided with Boomtown. And it's an amazing system. I woke up this morning not feeling well, which is why I'm in bed right now in my pajamas. But I had 23 things to get accomplished this morning. So I just started clicking through, making my phone calls, sending some emails. And then I had another top 42 matches. So I took the matches of properties that fit certain clients in my database. And that's what I'm working on this afternoon, is getting in contact with them so that I can go ahead and get them into properties. And then, so
it's an effective CRM.
No, it's effective. I've got it tied in with BombBomb so that I can be driving down the road and I click one button as I'm driving and I'm like, hey, yo, nice to meet you. Nice appointment. Great, whatever I've got to say. And I don't have to type an email. All of my links to everything that I do is right there. But yeah, so we pay directly at closing. So waiting on commission checks is never an issue for our agents as long as their files are complete. We've got everything from a full video production studio in my office, which obviously I'm not in right now. And, so everything just, as far as systems, you can actually, not even be that intelligent and still produce because,
well, you have to be good at converting and closing though.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So
we love BombBomb. Yeah, we do.
Oh, yes. Love BombBomb. Yeah, it's a
great product. We integrated it with FirePoint, so I've been with FirePoint for a couple of years, and so pretty tight with Gabe and the crew over there. So yeah, integrating BombBomb has been a game changer. Talk about getting your emails.
Yeah.
Right. And then whenever I have an event or a class or a training, any sort of education that I have in my office or any networking events that I host. I've got a great BombBomb list, and just to be able to click one video, boom, done, shoot it out. I invite my entire database because we're all about sharing all of the knowledge we have. We don't keep any secrets. We don't hide anything. Very transparent. We're an open book. If anyone has any questions, they can call, shoot, text, email, Snapchat, Instagram, direct message, whatever your favorite form of communication is. And so that's kind of how we operate.
Tabitha, what do you guys use?
We've been going through a few things now. My office has just adopted Chime, which is phenomenal. It's a step above Top Producer. I'm an avid Top Producer person, so I'm still holding on to both of them. I've got one foot in, one foot in both of them. And there's some out there, Lion Desk, things like that we've been playing with. I like to get involved with all of them and see what I like the best. I'm actually working on a spreadsheet because that's kind of what I like to do. But I would say right now, Chime is my favorite. I have not heard of FirePoint, so I'm going to, of course, as soon as we get off of this, I'm going to go on and see what that's all about.
Call me.
Okay.
Actually, go to their YouTube page and watch the commercial I'm in.
Yep. Okay, I will check that out. But again, going back to last week, 2 weeks ago when we broadcasted, it was whatever works for you that you're going to use religiously.
100%.
Like whatever you just have to use it. You have to use something, because if you just like, I've got like, oh my gosh, like this is sitting next to me on my bed right now, and you would absolutely die. I've got like a notebook full of notes, and this is like everything that's getting entered today. But like, this is stupid.
I know, nothing like good old pen and paper.
Yeah, no, but Tabitha's is beautiful.
This is my organization. Everybody's color coded.
That's not a bad way to do it.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I've been looking at the different vendors that provide these services, and one of the things that I've been kind of held up on is if we talk about Boomtown or FirePoint or some of these other systems, it has to make sense for the market that you're in. Some of them cost more than others, and some of them simply don't make sense for the markets that you're in. Like I said earlier, I was kind of dissecting. So Tabitha, I'm really interested in what you end up finding out, because I've been talking to a lot of them the last couple months, especially after Inman, after Remax R4. And I haven't really locked in with anybody, and I'm not really sure when I'll make that decision. But again, it's just a fact-finding mission at this point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, it's really what you feel comfortable using and what you wrap your head around. But as long as you use something, that's all that matters.
Embrace it. Yeah. Embrace it. Use it daily.
And learn.
I know, guys, you have to go.
Yeah. And learn all the tools that it has to offer.
Yeah. And give it time.
Yeah.
We can go a little deeper on the next episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we will. We'll do a wrap up. Now, and then we'll get together again.
You have to get off to your next podcast. But yeah, we'll definitely, which I'm excited to hear the next podcast, and stay tuned for the next time the AA's Angels and Assholes get together.
Exactly. That's what we're going to call it now when we get together.
Absolutely.
Well, guys,
and it just so happens to be my initials, so we're good.
I know. Well, I called you Alabama Alex.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's me. All A's.
All right. Well,
cool.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being on. We're going to let you go so you can get off to your podcast. And then Tabitha, Alex, and I are going to wrap it up. And we can't wait to see y'all soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you.
Talk soon.
All right.